We turn to the Phoenix Suns. Big news. Tough news. Terrible news. Chris Paul is going to be out for the remainder of the season with a right thumb avulsion fracture on his shooting hand. That is what we call crushing. Tough. Awful stuff. But do not panic. We have good news. The Suns have a 6.5 game cushion over Golden State and an 8-game lead over Memphis with 24 games left. So, probably not enough space for anybody to catch up, folks. This is it. They have locked up the 1 seed based around how dominant they've been all year, their backups, and really just time. Even if, let's just go into it like if you want to go doomsday situation. So say Phoenix goes 500 in the next 24 games in CP3's absence, which they won't. We know that they will not go 500 in these last 24 games. But say that they do. Golden State has to finish the rest of the year with 5 losses or less. Without Draymond Green, just to be clear. Just to tie. Just to tie. That's where we're at. No one's catching up. It's done. The race is over. That's not going to happen. So Phoenix is going to be the 1 seed heading into the playoffs, and will have a little cushion of time to watch the play-in tournament, get guys healthy, rest up before facing a team like, I don't know, the Pelicans, with no Zion, of course, or a very hobbled Lakers team with Anthony Davis, A. Disney, what they call them, bones of glass, skin of steel or paper or something, Mr. Glass. That would be a buzzsaw. That would be an absolute buzzsaw Lakers night-night sleep mask. Bad news is this. Slightly concerning if you're a Suns fan to have the engine behind your offense out for 2 months. Because not only does he impacts every aspect of the team in these major ways, from team defense to the structure of the offensive flow. He also has to get back to that place. 2 months, and then he's able to get back into the game flow. I mean, Chris Paul is the Captain America of the Suns. Right. The linchpin upon the rest of the team is built. Here's an example of how crucial Chris Paul is to the team's success. When CP3 is on the floor, Phoenix averages 115.9 points per 100 possessions. When he's off the floor, the number drops to 104.9. Yikes. CP3's net rating is plus 10.5, which is good for 3rd in the entire league among players averaging 30 minutes per game or more. So consider this also. In clutch time, at 36 years old, Chris Paul is the best in the entire league. I'll say it again. Chris Paul is the most dominant player in crunch time, clutch time in the league, period. For those who don't know what that is, clutch time is any time during the fourth quarter or overtime when the score is within 5. CP3 leads the NBA in clutch plus minus at plus 99. He's shooting 56% during clutch time, and more importantly, the Suns are an NBA best 24-3 in clutch time this season thanks to Chris Paul. Sheesh! That is bonkers. So, of course, losing CP3 and having him to get back fully conditioned, he can't shoot the ball like this. He won't be able to have his feel back. It's almost like a golfer who has to get back into putting and chipping. It's a feel thing. As a shooter, that's going to take time. He's not going to be able to use his hand on a ball for the next probably 6 to 8 weeks. Scary, considering that this is a team that absolutely needs Chris Paul to win a championship. They cannot do it any other way. We saw how it was when he was gone in the playoffs last year and into the finals when he looked like absolute trash because he was injured, not because of anything else. But when he's not playing at his best and he's not fully healthy, this team is atrocious. Atrocious. So, pretty lucky that the Suns ended up with Aaron Holiday for cash, for Cool Ranch Doritos. Aaron Holiday is now the backup point guard of this team. He was just on the Wizards like 2 days ago. Wizards considered him, Bradley Beal considered him to be the number 1 defender on the team. And now this guy is going to back up Campaign, who's coming back from injury as well. The question, how the fuck did the NBA allow Aaron Holiday, who is 22, 8, and 6 per 40 minutes? Like, he's averaging 22, 8, and 6 per 40. How did they allow him to end up in Phoenix for cash? considering it's beyond me. Considering he's a good locker room guy in a winning culture, of course, not in a trash culture like the Wizards. He's a tough defensive presence, and he can still score. Bradley Beal, like I said he was the best defender on the team. He's a Holiday. It's in his DNA. He is locking up Drew when he's a young kid. That's the kind of like one-on-one games they did in the backyard. It's wild. He ended up in Phoenix when teams like Boston, New York, Philly would kill for a 20 minutes or more point guard who can do all of those things. Like, could you imagine New York right now with Aaron Holiday? I mean, I would say he's probably better than Alec Burks. So, I don't know. So, will Chris Paul being gone hurt the Suns? For sure. They are absolutely worse when he's not on the floor. Did the Suns see this coming? I mean, they had to have. They got Aaron Holiday for cash. There's only one reason you do that. You know that this is necessary. Either you think Chris Paul might get injured because he always does, or he already was injured and then you just admitted that he was. Right. But fortunately, I think he'll be back in time for the playoffs. Getting that number 1 seed is huge because it gives them time to get his groove back. He could probably not even play the first round of the playoffs depending on who they play. So that's going to be really interesting. He won't have any other bumps and bruises, too, because the injury will allow him to stay in shape without the grind of this stretch run to wear him down. It's actually kind of chess, not checkers. You know what I mean? Like, you're basically load managing Chris Paul for the last 24 games of the season. Plus the play-in time, plus the first round. You might get him healthy for like 3 months almost. Right. That's wild. Also, you're going to need to think about it as a team, how you want to move on and how you want to function now that Chris Paul's not there, how the offense will change in his absence, how you exploit the things you already do well. To do that, let's look at what the Suns do best, pick and roll. This is something that I just saw today that was blowing me away, something that I think will kill other teams in the playoffs, something that the Suns will absolutely need to continue to expand on. If I asked you who the number 3 pick and roll man is in the NBA in terms of the roller, who would you guess that is? DeAndre Ayton. Wow. DeAndre Ayton, 3rd best roller in the NBA. And of course, like, you would think that might be a Sun, considering we're talking about the Suns. Not a shock, since they use the pick and roll a ton in Phoenix. Like, Ayton is very effective in the high pick and roll. How effective? 73% of his shots are from the high pick. Wow. Given how good Chris Paul and Devin Booker are in the mid-range, it makes it almost impossible to slack off of them and roll with DA. Like, DA's just getting easy shot after easy shot, period. 75% of his pick and roll plays come through Chris Paul. So that's going to need to get filled. That gap is going to need to get filled. But here's something that I am reasonably sure you probably don't know. Do you know who the number 1 pick and roller is in the NBA? The number 1 roller. I'm not even going to make you guess. It's JaVale McGee. Are we serious? That is an embarrassment of riches. JaVale McGee left to die out in the streets of Denver, just sitting on couches, going from place to place. Number 1 roller in the NBA this year. The Suns have 2 of the best 3 rollers in the league. What a damn pickup getting JaVale McGee was. Anybody could have had him. Anybody. And the thing is that the pick and roll works because Chris Paul and Devin Booker are so incredible, but mostly Chris Paul in this particular example. 75% of all pick and roll plays, like I said, come through Chris Paul, but 65% come with JaVale McGee. The Athletic Zach Harper wrote this: where McGee truly excels is in the fundamentals of what you want a big man to do here. Set a good pick, time your roll out of the pick, move in rhythm with the guard, catch the ball, keep it high, finish at the rim. Most guys don't keep it high. Most guys bring it down where they can get stripped or fouled. And McGee does that better than anybody in the NBA this season, and that is why he's shooting an absurd, almost 77% from the field. That is crazy. You got a big man who is left out on the street to die, shooting 77% from the field. And then, okay, he's a 7-footer. You can just dunk. Well, stop him then. Stop him from dunking. Okay. And 37% of those plays have been run through Chris Paul. And on those 37%, McGee has scored 70 points on 43 plays. Okay, let me break that down. 35 of 43 times they've ran that play, McGee has scored.
Wow.
35 of 43? That is unbelievable. And that means to me more responsibility falls on the shoulders of Devin Booker and campaign and probably now Aaron Holiday. But all you know is this. You got two big men that can roll and roll a lot. All you got to do is be effective in the mid-range enough that they cannot over move and roll with JaVale and DA. So, yeah, CP3 going down. Huge deal. But also don't sleep on the fact that Monty Williams knows this as well. Right. Monty Williams knows what he has. He knows that he's got the number 1 and number 3 rollers in the NBA. Are you kidding me? He's the best coach, period, in the NBA right now. He's going to win Coach of the Year. If I know it, he for sure knows it. And the Suns probably, like I said, are not giving up their cushion in the West. So they're not going to have to rush CP back. Things are going to be fine. It's going to be interesting, but things are going to be fine. And that is a luxury. And we can use that luxury that makes a disastrous, potential seismic injury way, way less impactful. The question is, how impactful will this injury be? I don't know. Chris Paul's been injured for pretty much every single postseason in his entire career since he was like 24 and up. We'll see how this plays out. Like hammies, hands, wrists, necks, abdominals, feet. I don't know. It's like everything with Chris. So I am really hoping that his secret stuff in the bottle and his time to load manage keeps him 100% healthy for the playoffs, because a fully healthy Chris Paul with the Suns is an absolute nightmare for opponents. And the league is better off when we see Chris Paul and Scott Foster basically bickering and getting into the media and making fireworks. So prayers up to Chris Paul, and I can't wait to see him back soon. But I think this might be a blessing in disguise.